the meeting to order. I understand we have somebody on the phone. We can hear you, so you're not muted, just for your information. And I understand, I think Brittany's here as well from Property Standards. So today we are going to hear file PS3/20. This is 64 Roslyn Road. The owner is Georgina Conley. We've been presented information on your property. We were provided some photos. I think everybody's maybe had a chance to look at some photos or drove past the property since this agenda was put out. If I can just quickly summarize, it's mainly appears to be some derelict trailers and a truck, just some general rubbish strewn about the property and the back deck specifically. So if we could have whoever's here on behalf of the owner, Georgina Conley, you can now make a presentation in support of your appeal.
Getting back to the truck, it's being dealt with. I haven't got it off the property yet. The person that was helping me, there's the only one that I know with the truck that's helping me for free there because I'm disabled. Like I have medical problems with my back. I cannot do the work. But everyone's been pitching in and helping me. There's for nothing. I have my trailers, they're mainly for my storage there and for my deer hunt. And I believe it's my mom that called in because we were fighting when the call came in. There's obvious that she did it. Because she wanted to run my property and put a lock on my trailer, and I cut it off. She has no right cutting. Yeah. She has no right putting a lock on my trailer. Yes, you can say that.
And my mom
you got to give your name.
And my name's Evelyn, and my mom got out of the hospital, and when that happened too.
Yeah, unfortunately, it appears as though some of this has been sitting there on your property for, I would say, years.
My trailers have been on my property. They're for quite a while. But they have been transported elsewhere. They're for my deer hunt, and I've been using them for storage there as well. If you want to come out and look in my trailers, I can unlock them and show you.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just that you're.
I have nobody living in my trailers there neither.
Yeah. It's just that it's in contravention of a property standard bylaw.
Like I said, I've had no problems there with my trailers on my property there until the call came into you. Until my mom got mad at me. I would like to keep my trailers if I can.
Brittany, would you like to offer any input at this time?
Hi, my name is Brittany Morey. I am a property standards officer for the city of Belleville. I think the photos show them quite evidently. They have been there for quite a few years. They are in a derelict condition, which is in contravention of the property standards bylaw. They have flat tires. They're basically embedded into the ground.
Not flat tires.
They are a motor vehicle, classified as a motor vehicle. They are supposed to be in a licensed condition. At this point in time, I don't, they're a vehicle, not a storage facility, would be my opinion of them.
They do not have flat tires. And they have no motor on them. So how can it be classified as a motor vehicle when there's no motor on them?
a trailer is considered a motor vehicle. Robert, you have a comment?
I was just gonna say, it's gotta be street legal. If MTO would give you a ticket driving down the road, then that would be an issue. So I think that's what Brittany is talking about, the fact that they aren't
I've heard-
up to,
I've been transporting them. They're off and on. They're not. Never got a ticket from the MTO.
okay, well, that's just playing the odds. Brittany has observed and photographed them in a given condition. I guess I have a question for Brittany. Brittany, was there an issue with the sheds being too close to the property line or past the property line? Looks like one of them is on the other side of the property line.
They're on my side of the property.
That wasn't part of the initial complaint, but I didn't measure them, but they do look pretty close to the property line.
Yeah, there's a white one that
So
looks
they
like it's
could-
past, like, not sure.
Yeah, they could potentially be in
They're on my
contravention.
side of the property, though.
They do have to be a certain distance from any adjacent property lines. I believe in Thurlow, maybe Greg can weigh in on this one. Thurlow, is it 2 meters from any property line for accessory buildings?
I believe if it's a rural residential zone or rural or agricultural, it needs to be 3 meters for an accessory building.
I think we're nowhere near that.
You're talking about my weight in the shack.
Well, I didn't have a survey on me, but what evidently looked like the property line to me was the tree line that was there. And there are some right against the trees and the one shed looks like it's past, which would potentially be on the neighbor's property. But I
not on the neighbor's
would leave that up to Brittany.
It's not on my neighbor's property.
Okay.
But that's really here nor there. When you look at the photographs that we've been provided, I don't think any one of those trailers is roadworthy. They're embedded into the ground. They've been parked there for several years. There's a stack of tires. There's a half-ton truck that obviously isn't roadworthy. Looks like either a stove or a washer and dryer. There's a trailer full of debris.
I was storing my scrap until the price of scrap went up. So
But that's improper.
that's when I was.
It's improper storage. You're in total contravention of the property standards. So we're going to need you to provide us with some form of solution to this.
I plan on getting rid of it. To keep you happy, there I plan on taking the truck and the scrap to the scrap yard.
And when do you expect that to take place?
Oh, the friend of mine they just had the fuel module to go on his truck, and he just got it fixed today. So within the next day or so, there I would imagine.
There, is that better? Yeah, you're gonna
Sorry?
leave those three trailers in the backyard forever?
No, I plan on selling them if I could.
But I think the decision that we have to make today is something's got to be done with these, and the question is when.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious we've heard from both parties with really not much of a concrete solution. So I think the committee should just now discuss this and end the public part of this session and just talk about this ourselves and come to a decision. Unless
So I'm not going to have a trailer for my deer hunt then.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't matter whether it's for a deer hunt or storage, it's in contravention of the property standards, so.
if I may, I think the point is that if you have a trailer there that is licensable, has a license on it, can be transported on a road, has a valid tag on it, and is stored according to the proper bylaw, I don't think anyone has an issue with there being a trailer there. The problem is there's a number of derelict trailers that are there, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair. So again,
Like the one trailer on my property, there's not my trailer. There's being stored there by my friend.
so again, compliance with the property standards bylaw is really what we're here to talk about. So
So did you say one of these trailers belongs to a friend?
One of the trailers belongs to my friend, yes.
Well, then maybe one of the solutions is going to be to get your friend to do something with that, move it off the property.
I can do that.
That's only part of the whole problem and solution, though.
Like the yard's all completely cleaned up now. If you'd want to come out and look at it, you're more than welcome.
We have pictures here that were taken yesterday, and the back deck and the whole yard is a complete mess in my estimation. So have you cleaned that up today or since yesterday afternoon when these pictures were taken? What have you done
Now,
since then?
Where would I take my trailers if you want to take a note?
That's up to you to do whatever you want to do with them, but the situation here is something has to be done with them, and the sooner the better.
Yes, Robert?
So would I be able to keep one there if there was a plate on it?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
But I said, so would I be able to keep one of the trailers there if I have a plate on it?
I don't think that's the question. You can keep a trailer, but I think it should be stored in your driveway and roadworthy if it's got a
I
plate.
have my driveway out in front of my house there. That's why it's in the yard.
Yeah. Robert, you had a question?
I did, yeah. Brian had asked a question that wasn't answered. Brian, maybe you want to ask that again?
I didn't hear the question.
Sorry, I don't remember the question.
I think, well, you had asked what had been done since
Oh.
yesterday afternoon, or was any cleanup done this morning? And that got glossed over, and then it was moved on. Am I allowed to keep a trailer?
Yeah,
I would like to hear the answer to that question.
I'll ask that question again. What has been done since yesterday, since these pictures were taken?
Nobody showed up to give me a hand there yesterday, so I would say nothing got done yesterday.
So what the pictures that we're
I'm
looking
answering
at
you to the
now,
best of my knowledge.
the pictures that we're looking at now, the mess is exactly the same right now as it was when these pictures were taken, correct?
Right.
Okay, and
Because
that's,
I didn't see nobody at my house there yesterday. They're neither.
yeah, but it's your property. It's up to you to take the action to correct the issues that have been outlined here by the property standards individual.
We've
Whether-
addressed that. We've addressed that, Brian, and I think we know what the situation is. Councillor Sanderson, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, through the chair. So is it to get this thing to a resolution, can the property standards group issue a deadline by which these trailers have to be removed? And then in the establishment of that time frame, if the trailers aren't moved, would we make arrangements to have them removed, and whatever the costs are associated to that, have them placed on the owner? So I guess that's two questions.
Well, the decision that today that we're going to make is going to be to make the decision as to when he's going to have this done. If we say 15 days or 30 days, that's what our decision will be, and he has to have it done by then. And if he doesn't, then my understanding is the city will go in, remove them, and he'll be charged for the cost of cleaning up this property.
Okay, so thank you for that response. Do we want to pick a time or a date?
Well, that's why I was hoping that, I think if we've had enough discussion with the owners, we should end the public part of this meeting. And then the committee
Okay.
discuss this and come to a decision.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Is it Georgina Conley? Do you have any last words to say before we conclude this part of the meeting?
I like to keep at least one of my trailers besides my utility trailer,
You want to keep one trailer?
along with my utility trailer if possible.
The utility trailer that is got that you tow behind a truck, is that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's a good question.
Yes, Susan?
The red truck, now, I must have missed it. Is that a derelict truck? Is it drivable? Or is it scrap?
The red truck is going.
Pardon?
The red truck is going.
Yeah. It's not drivable.
So for clarity then, we're looking at one trailer that's platable, towable, and his utility trailer that looks like it's currently full of scrap metal.
That's right.
Everything else
Yes.
needs to go
Right.
under the bylaws. There was talk about the sheds along the lot line, but I don't see any pictures of those. So are they included in this application or the order?
I don't think so.
I think Brittany mentioned that she hadn't looked at that issue.
Okay. Just for clarity, so we know.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. All it is about maintenance of accessory buildings. We don't get in property standards. I don't think we get into, lot lines. So just looking at what's on it, it's just the maintenance of an accessory building and yard. So, okay. I'm going to say that this concludes the public portion of the meeting, and then the committee will move on. Okay, I believe their phone has now been muted, so we can now discuss this. I'll say this, the people sound like they want to cooperate. It sounds like it's a bit of a family problem, based on where the complaint came from. Some of that stuff's been there for years. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think that everybody agrees that something has to be done, but I think the only thing that we need to look at is how much time do we need to give this gentleman, if any, to solve this issue?
I think it's Georgina Conley, Brian. It's not a gentleman. It's a.
Oh, Georgina, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's the issue as I see it. So,
yeah. Robert, you have a.
What I guess is a reasonable amount of time to give them to get this matter cleaned up.
In line with that, sorry, am I muted?
Yeah.
So in line with that, we're heading into some pretty cold weather. Is she going to be able to tow those things out of there?
I'm sure they're frozen in the ground now.
Yeah. So I guess whatever we do, like even if we gave a 30-day compliance, then that would require Brittany to follow up. And if she has plated one, you can't just throw a plate on a vehicle. Like, is there a way to tell that it's been legally plated and is actually a roadworthy trailer? Or is that just Brittany's estimation, looking at the trailer, that if she keeps one, that it's actually deemed roadworthy? Like, Brittany, how do you determine whether something is derelict or something is okay to keep? Just the fact that they're old shouldn't be enough, right?
That's correct. So there are obviously multiple trailers in the city that are in older condition, but they have, there's no broken windows, there's no flat tires, there's no, pieces falling off. Roadworthy is generally a good, when you look at something, if it's roadworthy, like if it's, MTO wouldn't pull it over, or the police, if they wouldn't have an issue with it, then it's fine by us. And we do have the ability also to check plates as well with the police, because a lot of people will just, throw a plate on it. Doesn't necessarily mean that the plate's legal.
Yeah.
So that is an option too. And, as long as it doesn't have flat tires, there were some broken windows on the trailers. Like, it's clear that they are being just used for storage facilities. So basically, is it an eyesore when it comes down to derelict? The tires, pieces falling off, windows, etc. And then after whatever, if an extension is decided on, then I would go out back to the property, re-inspect and see if it is in compliance. And I know another committee member had raised the question of if after the deadline, if it wasn't complied with, then we do have the ability to look at enforcement options such as removing the trailers off the property, towing them off, and then the expenses would be put on the owner's taxes.
I'm prepared to make a motion that the,
Just before you do, Brian, could I just make a little summary comment? Just maybe I'm
Sure.
feeling a little bit compassion for these folks. I kind of heard where the complaint came from. Those trailers have been there for years. You can look at the photograph. You can tell that the stuff. So maybe we shouldn't be too quick to put a 30-day deadline on having them removed, knowing that we're heading into winter. I'm just going to put that out there. That Brian, if you want to put your motion forward, we can discuss.
just before I.
Can I ask something? Hello?
Susan, okay, sorry.
Is it like a progressive approach reasonable for us to take, especially in light of what Chris said, right? If we can show some honest to goodness attempt at remedy, knowing that snow and frozen and stuff is coming up, pick a deadline and do it progressively, right? To show some earnest attempt to make it right. I don't know whether that would be a part of a motion or.
Well, the back deck can be cleaned up immediately. Like, I mean, that's
Well,
one.
in that truck, right? The truck and the
truck.
scrap metal can go.
Yeah.
Like,
The trailer can, so. All right, Brian, go ahead.
The order was issued on November 16th, so they've had a month, and it doesn't look like anything has been done in the last month in trying to solve this issue. So what I was proposing to make a motion that all the issues that are outstanding be resolved by the end of January. I know that today is the 17th of December and it's going to be Christmas, New Year's, etc. And as Chris, you said, being somewhat compassionate or reasonable, I would say that if it's done by the end of January, cold weather or not, to me would be a reasonable time since they've had almost a month already to do it. And we're giving them basically another 6 weeks to do it. So to me, that would be reasonable. And I'm prepared to make the motion that all these issues be solved by the 31st of January.
And I will second that motion.
All in favor? I think we have 1, 2, 3, if I counted hands, 4, and 4 in favor, 2 against, if I read Susan and Carol's motion. So
What is the alternative that Sue and Carol would propose then?
I think a longer period of time.
I suggested a progress approach.
The motion was carried 4-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I guess the only other thing we're doing is confirming the minutes of the meeting of September 24th. Anybody's had a chance to read those over and remember our discussion with Mr. Paymont on Herkimer Avenue?
Update on that one. He actually did do some work.
Oh, he did, eh? Okay, very good.
Yep.
I guess he has till the 30th, it's 1st of January to do the other work.
Yeah. So we just need,
Move.
Susan, you'll move to accept
Minutes
the
are good.
minutes. Seconded by Robert.
Yep.
All in favor? All right. Carried. That concludes the property standards meeting. If we can have a mover to adjourn it, we will. Glenn, seconded by Carol. Thank you. Everybody stay tuned. In the next 5 minutes, Brian will
Yeah.
take over and we'll start Committee of Adjustment, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we'll just wait for a couple minutes till 3:30 to start our next meeting. Okay. Pardon?
I see I'm Carol Miller. That's nice. Must have got married over the weekend. Ho, 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 right?
Who's the lucky person, Carol?
Oh, I'm Brian and Carol Miller. Here we go.
Oh, Brian, congratulations.
You were Andrew Chan earlier, so.
Oh, was I? Oh, I missed it. I love it when that happens. I usually look at everybody else's name. I forget to look at my own.
Just Mark quickly, I will volunteer if you're going to share your link with someone else, they are going to become you until I change that. So just so you know, if you share a link, you're also sharing your identity. So you can all be Andrew Chan if you want to. It'll just
Oh,
be
sure.
Well,
Sounds
that's
like
a
a
good
deal.
piece of information.
That's why I had, when I sent Glenn the link, I was hoping that Mark would follow up with an email with proper link so that we wouldn't have two Greg Pinchins.
Well, I actually used Andrew's link and I just changed my name. That's all.
Oh, even better. Okay.
Oh, the world can't have too many Greg Pinchton, you know.
And there's another information item just for everyone there, whether you can see it or not. In the gallery are Andy Gertzman, Caitlin Sheehan, and Warren Price. So they'll be entered into the meeting as they're called upon by the chair.
Everybody ready to rock and roll?
Yep.
Sue is muted, Chris is muted, Carol's muted. Over there. There we go. We're all ready to go now? Yep. So we're on mute. Unmute. There we go. Okay, everybody ready? Everybody's on mute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're ready to roll? Okay, it's 3:30, so we're going to call the Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. My name is Brian Miller, and I'll be chairing the meeting today. First order of business, is there any pecuniary interest by anybody today on any of these items?
No.
I'll take that as a no. Our first application today is for a minor variance at 49 Marsh Drive in Belleville. The applicant is Warren Price, and the owner is Richard and Arlene Tesson. And I understand that someone is with us to represent them. Okay. Warren Price, okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Price. I think he muted or something. Can you hear us, Mr. Price?
Yes, I can. I got myself unmuted now.
Okay.
Actually, I was available. For some reason, I was able to watch the rest of that meeting previously. So I was muted, but I could see everything going on. So yeah.
Okay, so what we're looking at here at 49 Marsh Drive is they're building a ramp up to the front step. Is that correct?
It's to the rear step. Okay.
Oh, the rear step. Okay, sorry. And do you have any questions, comments to make?
The reason we're doing this, it's for person in the forces, a vet. He's got MS, so we're making a wheelchair ramp to come out of the back door. We're actually doing a lift for the front right now, but the ramp at the rear is for emergency purposes.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Price? And is there anyone else that wishes to comment on 49 Marsh Drive?
I'll move to approve this.
I'll second it.
Moved by Glenn, seconded by Robert.
Yep.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next application is A2420. It's for a minor variance at 105, 107 Ridgeway Place in Belleville. The applicant is Caitlin Sheenan and Ainsley and Graham Associates, and the owner is Skyline Real Estate Holdings. So what we're looking at here, it's an apartment building, and the driveway is one single lane, and they want to make it wider so that we have traffic going both ways on there. That's the gist of the request. Is anyone is Caitlin or anyone with us? Caitlin and Sheenan?
Hi there.
Oh, you joined us. Okay. So it's just the widening of the driveway by the apartment building, correct?
Yes, that's right. So they require a minor variance from the 7.5 meter setback to 4.5 in order to make the laneway big enough for two-way traffic, which will make it safer. So the closest bedroom window's on the 4th floor. So it is still significant, like from significant distance from the laneway. And I agree with everything that's written in the city's planning report. And I noted at the end that it was suggested potentially they could add landscaping to help buffer. So I asked the owner and they said that definitely they were planning to plant 3 or 4 spruce trees along the landscape buffer that's left after widening the laneway. So, but any other questions anyone has, I'm here to answer.
Any questions for Caitlin? Chris?
I was just curious if in the original design, was that always intended to just be one-way traffic or?
No, they had hoped that they could have two-way traffic down that laneway. And then it was pointed out that they couldn't do it without a minor variance. And at the time, they just wanted to get the site plan approved. So they tweaked it to comply with the standards, knowing that they fully intended to come back later to get the minor variance to widen it. But they always wanted it to be two-way so that it's safer. Because there's a bit of a slope going up. So it'll be better to have it as 2 lanes.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions for Caitlin? Sue?
No, I was going to move.
Okay.
Yep.
Moved by Sue, seconded by Carol. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, our next application is a application for minor variance at Riverstone Subdivision, City of Belleville. Applicant is Andy Gertzma, and the owner is Andy Gertzma of GCL Developments. Is Mr. Gertzma with us today? He'll be joining us presently. So basically, I'll wait till he's on here. Okay, there he is. He's muted, I guess, but okay. Hey, everyone. So what we're looking at here is a subdivision, and there are 7 lots that are corner lots. I understand that became deficient once that they put the daylight triangle in. Is that correct? Can you hear us, Mr. Gertzma?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry.
So that's really the issue here. It's just that the frontage is short now when they take the daylight triangle out, but really nothing else has changed.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay. Is there any questions for Mr. Gertzma by anyone? There are 7 lots in total, correct, that this affects?
That's correct.
And they're listed in here, which ones they are?
Yes.
Okay. Sue, you have a question?
Just like this is being done for safety reasons, right? To be able to see around corners and such?
No, the daylight triangles are the reason why this variance has been requested. There's a difference in the way the lot frontages are calculated in the city of Belleville versus the township of Thurlow. And because of that difference, the city of Belleville calculations is everything would have worked. But because of the way the township of Thurlow calculates the lot frontage calculation, when you have a large daylight triangle, it reduces the effective width of the lot. So we have 7 lots with that condition, and we're asking for relief so that we can use the same definition that appears in the Belleville bylaw for the Thurlow bylaw.
But I think your question, Sue, was the daylight triangles are for safety reasons.
Was
that your question?
Sorry if I misunderstood that question.
And that's correct. So they can see around on the corner. You can't put hedges or anything on that triangle so they can see when they're pulling out or go around the corner. Okay?
That's right. Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Gertzma? If none, then a mover. Robert, Susan, seconded. All in favor of approving those? Thank you. Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gertzman. Okay, next order of business is confirmation of the minutes of November 19th. And do we have a mover and a seconder for those? Carol moved it, seconded by, who's seconding the minutes?
Bill,
Bill, sorry, I didn't see your hand. All in favor of the minutes? Carried, thank you. Okay, any correspondence, Greg, other than what we've got? No correspondence? Any other business? Our next meeting will be January the 14th at 3:30. And I think that pretty well concludes our meeting. So we'll look for an adjournment from Robert. Thank you. So anyway, just one last comment. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year to you and your family, and we'll see you all in January.
Same to you.
same to everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Everybody,
Christmas.
stay,
Thank you.
stay safe.